I think that's probably the hardest part when you start off, actually finding places to get gigs at. Like,
Absolutely.
how I'm trying to imagine me if I was starting DJing, how would I go about trying to get those first few gigs?
You have to generate your own audience. That's what it's all about. It's about going to a venue and say, look, I will bring you X amount of people. It's that organic initial swell that gives you that momentum to start. And it's about rallying all your friends. Back then,
Because how do you do that before social media?
before social flyers, you used to have to go around with word of mouth telling people. We used to go around to clubs afterwards and put flyers on people's windscreens. Mate, it was old school, but there was a charm and a passion about that. I mean, it was a nightmare because you'd do a club event and you'd had no idea who was coming. If any, you could open the door, no one would turn up. Your heart was in your mouth.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
there was no pre-sales.
You're blagging it to the club.
Absolutely. It was just like, fingers crossed it's a work, but it was about building your own audience initially. I mean, a lot of that was your friends, getting your friends down there to help support you. They tell a friend, it's a successful night, it goes well, and it kind of ripples out and it grows from that way. But I remember my first ever gig was on a Tuesday night in a pub in Maidstone. That's where it started. It was
How many people?
5. But that's where you learn how to DJ.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
look, anyone can play to 5,000 people because they're not going anywhere. They've all bought a ticket for 50 quid.
They're probably off their nut as well.
You're not going anywhere. Play to 5 people, get one record wrong, they're going. They're going home. So that's, in some ways, they're the best environments to learn because it really teaches you to think about how you play music and the progression of it, and not playing things that jar with the situation you're in. So all of those tiny little gigs playing to no one was really the best training, the best foundation I could have for my career, because I can always go back to that. And you see a lot of these kids now who stratospherically kind of get propelled into this realm of stardom that have none of that grounding. So they don't know how to really manipulate and work a crowd from nothing. I mean, I love playing gigs where I start and I play open to close. I play the whole night. So you start with the first person walks in the door to everyone leaves, and you build that story. You kind of grow it over the night in line with the energy of the room. And that's what DJing's about.
Yeah.
You know, DJing is about rocking up for an hour playing all the hits. My mum can do that.
Yeah.
I could teach my mum to do that in an hour.
It's interesting because a lot of comedians do that. The comedians actually like to go and play in the smaller clubs so they can refine and practice their
You get a
skills.
feel, DJing is about a psychology. It's about going into a room and going, okay, the vibe of the room is here, and what I want it to be is here. So how are we going to take this room with this amount of people in this environment from here to here with it feeling completely effortless, without anything jarring, no peaks and troughs in energy, this smooth ride musically to the point of where I want it to be. And that's what DJing is about. And in those small rooms, it's easier to get that personal connection. When you're in a massive warehouse, you lose touch of that because initially there's a disconnect in that relationship because they are behind a barrier 30 feet away. So how am I supposed to connect with that? How am I supposed to connect? And especially in this day and age where people look at you, like, I still can't quite get my head around that. I'm like, why are you looking at me? Like, hang on, what's on? It's like, you should be just listening to the music. When I went out as a kid, we weren't interested in looking at some geezer stood behind the decks. We went out to look at girls and dance, you know. And that, again, that bit's, I think, got a bit distorted and lost in the kind of evolution of electronic music. I think it needs to be more about, don't worry about what the DJ is. You don't need a cue for fun. You don't need to look at me to say, right, I'm going to put my hands up and everyone have fun. Like, you should be lost in the environment that you're in and the music you're in. You don't need a prompt from me.